Alright, so in this tutorial, I'm gonna be talking about polygon primitives, specifically object mode and component modes. I need to be in my front or my perspective view, spacebar, okay. You wanna be here, spacebar. So first create a polygon primitive shape. Create polygon primitives. Create polygon primitives. I'm going to make a cube. There's my cube. Now this here is an polygon primitive in object mode. So object mode, that's in green wireframe as you can see. The object mode is the whole structural mass. Right? Object mode is for moving your model, which is the W hotkey. Right? You can move it as a whole. Object mode is meant for also rotating, right? Rotational placement of your model. E as in Edward. And the way you do that is you can see how I'm manipulating these axes, right? The outer axes is not something you want to mess with. See this outer axis, because that will manipulate all the rotational parts like X, Y, and Z. Then there's your R for Robert. That's your scale. You can scale from the center. I can scale this way, that way, and I can constrain scale whichever axis, right? See? Okay. So I just grayed that out. Now I want to move on to talking about component modes. And here is one of your first important hotkeys. You select your object, and then you're gonna right mouse click and hold. Select it, right mouse click and hold, floating menu set. And then here are your components. Here's your object mode like I talked about, edge mode, vertex mode. Ignore this, vertex face, and your face mode. Ignore this, ignore that. All you need to know is object, edge, vertex, face. Ignore all of this, okay? So don't be intimidated by it. Right click and hold that. Practice this out for yourself. You can pause the video, because when you see in tutorials how they quickly go like that, right? See? You'll notice that I also do this as well. So I want you to practice with that. Sometimes you might do this, and I have had, students kind of panic. Like I said, all you gotta do is right click and hold, go back to object mode. Right click and hold, edge mode. Right click and hold, vertex mode. Right click and hold, face mode. Okay? Practice that out. See how quickly I did it? So a 3D object is constructed from components: vertices, edges, faces, UVs. And you can just ignore the UVs. That's for another tutorial. Right click and hold, like I said, vertex. Vertex is created and needed to visualize an edge. See these vertices? You can experiment, right? I selected one vertex with the W key. You can move like that, right? At the same time, you can select, say, two vertices where you just hold on the shift key, right? And you select it. And you can move, see? And this is the beginnings of modeling, right? You can rotate it, press E as in Edward, that. But then when you do something like this, it starts to mess with the model. When you skew it this much, I'm gonna zoom in. You see this right here? That is something that in 3D software you kind of want to avoid, where it's skewed so much. But anyway, I'm gonna undo that. Okay, so I talked about vertex mode and how it's also related to the the move tool, rotate, scale tool. So you can grab all of that, press R as in Robert, You can scale. You can pull, and you can say scale from the center like that. So you can immediately start blocking out shapes. Right click and hold, object mode. Edge mode. Select it, right click and hold, edge. Here's my edge. Right? I can pull, yank. Right? Right click and hold, vertex. And then I can yank that. Yank that. And a student once asked me about what component mode should I use to model. They're all a lot of times one and the same. For example, you can do that, right? In edge mode. You can be in vertex mode and basically do the same thing, like that. But then if you need to do more fine-tuned tweaking, you can do that. Whereas in edge mode, you cannot do that. You can only pull a big old chunk at a time. Yeah, and like in edge mode, you can scale. Edge mode, RE, you can rotate. Edge mode, you can pull, right? When multiple edges come together, you now have a planar face. So edge, 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 edge. Right? When all these edges come together, you have a face. Right click, face. Select the face. Again, right click, face. You can grab a big old face, right? Here's my front. I can do that and do that. I can press R, scale it in, just like how I scaled it in vertex mode. Right click, vertex, I can select that. See how they're all interconnected. I can press E, I can do rotation, like that. So that's your faces. So I talked about this, right? Just a reminder. Right mouse click and hold, right? I don't need to go over that anymore. And I talked about component modes are used for shaping your model with the existing vertices, edges, and faces. I talked about that. How to access component mode modeling tools, right? So here comes the next important part. So for each component mode, right, even in object mode, in edge mode, in vertex mode, in face mode, they all have tools. They all have modeling tools. And the way you access these modeling tools, right, is, for example, I'm in face mode, and then I'm going to click on the face. And if I want to access some of the tools for this face mode, you hold Shift and the right mouse button, click and hold. Shift, press down Shift, press down the right mouse button as well. Hold those together, right? Hold on Shift, hold on the right mouse button. Now you have specific floating menu tools. You have merge faces to center. Undo. Oh, it just changed to vertices right now. I don't know why it just does that. Let's go back to right click and hold, face. Shift right click and hold. You have poke face. Right, that adds a connection point over here that you can pull. Right, let me undo that. Shift right click and hold. You have your bevel face. Be using this a whole lot that you can, manipulate like that. You can do things like this. All right. Okay. Shift right click and hold. You have your multi-cut. Multi-cut tool like this, boom. You can put one right down the middle, boom. 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 I'm just doing it really rough right now so you can just get a quick view of like what I'm doing. Okay, this is a floating vertex, right? See how things can start moving really quickly. This looks really chaotic, but you know, so you can just see. See how you're going from face mode to vertex mode, right? I undid all of that. Back to object mode. Right click and hold face mode, select it, shift right click. Also, another thing is that some of these tools, right, they're interchangeable. Like the multi-cut tool is also available in object mode. Okay. I don't know which other ones as well, but you'll see them, some of them overlap and some of them are kind of misplaced or placed somewhere else depending on the component mode you are in. Okay, so let's say right click, let's go to edge mode. I'm going to select on an edge, right? Shift right click. Now you have right there, look, multi-cut. Okay, we have a bevel edge, right? Just like in face mode. Remember, face mode had bevel edge. Face mode also had a multi-cut, right? So let's say shift right click and you can extrude an edge, right? You can yank that out. I can pull on that. See? So let me undo that. Right click and hold. Let's go back to edge. Select an edge. Shift right click and hold. You can bevel an edge. Boom. And you can do the, you know, do this and put more segments like that. Start shaping it. Okay. Shift right click and hold. Delete edge. Boom. Undo that. Shift right click and hold. Multi-cut. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, boom, boom. Right? And then close. Shift right click and hold. Those are the main ones that I use a lot. Then you have all these other ones like insert edge loop. Okay, this is also available in object mode, right? And you got all this other stuff. Fill hole is also available in object mode. And so right now you're probably getting a bit overwhelmed, but I go through all the tools and how and why in the other tutorials. All right, so, and then right click. I talked about the edge, face. Did I talk about vertex mode? Damn. All right, so vertex mode as well. Select all the vertices, right? Shift right click and hold. You can merge the vertices. All right, let me go back. So when you see the little arrow, that means there's more. And right now I'm still holding my shift and right mouse button. You can merge vertices to center. See? Shift right click and hold. Merge vertices. Then there's your, instead of to center, you have your target weld. But I have multiple ones selected. Let me just click on that. And you see the little target icon, right? The target, the cursor now looks like a target. Boom. I can grab that. Boom. Boom, 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 boom. Right? So I also I showed this inside the PDF tutorial guide, and yeah, that way you have the videos and the PDF visual guide as well. This, let me grade this out. Right, each component mode will bring up a slightly different menu for modeling. Right, while other modeling tools are unique to a particular. Right, so one last thing. Other modeling tools are unique to a particular component mode. I'm in vertex mode. Right, see in vertex mode, you don't have the insert edge loop. Right, you don't have the insert edge loop, which is used a lot. But then if I select in edge mode, here's your insert edge loop. If I select in object mode, I have my insert edge loop. See what I mean? So when you're modeling and learning and you notice that the modeling menus are kind of slightly different, now you know why. And why, you know, sometimes the tools you expect to be there are not there, but they're maybe down here. Okay, right? So right click, let's say face mode, select the face, shift right click, shift right click, extrude face, multi-cut, it seems to be always over there, bevel faces over here. But in face mode, you do not have insert edge loop. See, there's no insert edge loop. So when you're first learning, chances are there will be times where like, where the hell is my insert edge loop? You know, you just have to realize that it's in a different component mode. I'm in edge mode, shift right click, select, shift right click and hold, insert edge loop. Go back to right click and hold, object mode, shift right click and hold, insert edge loop. See how it's slightly, ever so slightly different, but it's enough to drive students crazy, you know? And that's why you can also look here in the custom menu set that we made, that's here. And this is insert edge loop, but it says split edge ring options. I don't know why the hell they named it something a little bit different. They should have just named it insert edge loop. See? So don't blame me, it's just the way the programmers had set everything up. Alright, so I talked about that. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. The other tutorials will go in much more in depth. Yeah, I highly recommend watching this video. If you do not, you're only hurting yourself because you'll be wondering why is this happening or why is that happening. But if you were to watch this video, at least you'd have a basic understanding. Alright, bye.